I be like, sheesh, sunset on the beach. Make me wanna pull up on Miami with the heat. I don't know about
All right, everybody, welcome back to the Anytime Sports Podcast Show. I'm your host, Colin. I'm here with my other host, Andrew, and we haven't been doing this for a while, but we're getting right back into it. We have some things, but let's just jump in straight into the news. Let's go to the Falcons are trading a fifth-round pick for Lions cornerback Jeff Okudah. What do you believe? What do you think?
I mean, I really like that trade. I think he's a powerhouse. He showed when he was with the Lions, he showed he's a top lineman, and with this Falcons team and them really I feel like their line was getting better last year. They really, I guess they got to develop a quarterback, but you always, the best way to start is with the line. So building up there is the best thing for that team.
The way I looked at Jeff Okudah, and when I saw him coming in the league, I thought it was going to be more than what he was. He's not as a top-tier guy that they thought they were getting after they were traded Darius Slay away, and then they drafted him. He wasn't that top-tier guy, and I don't think he'll be that top-tier guy in Atlanta, but maybe he could have a resurgence in his career, and, you know, who knows? I just don't think he's going to be that top-tier guy. He never was that top-tier guy, and I don't think he will be. But another free agent signing, Odell Beckham Jr. signs with the Ravens. What are your thoughts?
Well, I don't know what you're going to do with that. I mean, they haven't re-signed Lamar yet. It's either them preparing to keep Lamar, and because, I mean, OBJ and Lamar are close, or it's them preparing, getting a receiver in there. I mean, OBJ had a year off. He showed he could play before he tore his ACL in the Super Bowl. But he's getting up there in age, so we'll have to see how he competes this year with the team.
OBJ was told that Lamar may not be back, or he may be back. He said, I'm excited to see if I can have the opportunity to play with him. I think looking at his signing, he looked so grateful. It's not the OBJ I've seen in 2016, 2015, dancing around and knocking over kicking posts or kicking nets. But I see an OBJ that's matured and an OBJ that is very appreciative that he got this signing, because he wanted to play last year and he didn't get a chance to play.
Mm-hmm.
Come back and you actually have a team that wants to sign you. I mean, that's a pretty big deal, and he looked really excited. He had his kid on his lap, and he looked really excited and ready to get to work. So I hope it's a rejuvenated and really, really good OBJ this coming season. I'll be rooting for him.
Yep, not to mention it's a one-year deal, so things don't work out. Things work out, they could re-sign him, so we'll have to
Jeffrey Simmons of the Tennessee Titans have agreed to a 4-year contract extensions. What are your thoughts on that move?
I mean, the Titans, they got rid of a lot of people I know this offseason, so really it's just all up in the air for that team. So I guess re-signing those guys that you know are good. Oh, I don't know what happened to my camera. But
okay.
Re-signing those guys that are good, so yeah, I mean, that's good for them.
No, definitely. I think that's good for him. But let's go with some more current news right now. Dan Snyder reached an agreement with to sell the Commanders for $6 billion.
Wow.
Led to the Josh Harris Group. The group also owns the Philadelphia 76ers. And I believe they own the New Jersey Devils, but I'm not very sure on that. But don't quote me on that. But $6 billion Dan Snyder gets, and he's out of the league. That's probably the best for the league, but who knows?
Yep, very much needed, I would say, for that team, considering their stadium, how that's been, considering their team has been on a downfall, and really that stadium has been falling apart. But I guess that's good. They sold it, got it into new hands, got the team into new hands. So we'll have to see what they do with it.
Devin White, linebacker for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, has requested a trade, and if I go over here, I'll find out the rumors behind that. Devin White is reportedly seeking $18 to $20 million per year in a new contract. So he's doing his own negotiations right now. So that would put White on par with one of the highest paid linebackers in the league right now. Who knows?
Yeah.
We don't know yet.
Yeah, we got to see, because he showed he could perform But also, I mean, yeah, we're just gonna see what team needs a linebacker, what team wants to sign him. So, or if he stays. Another quick piece that I saw is it was a few weeks ago, but Tyreek Hill said after the season he might call it quits.
Yeah.
Or after his contract's up. My bad. After his contract is up, he might call it quits.
I mean, why not? I mean, you've done all you have to do in this in his seasons, in his whole career. I mean, he's done a lot. So.
Yeah, I mean, if because he's shown he's one of the fastest. He has a couple rings under his belt, or a ring. But I mean, the age is gonna start to catch up to you at some point. If he wants to remain one of the fastest players to ever play the game, hang it up. He's done only once. Focus on your health. Don't get too injured before it's too late. But yeah, I think that's the right call.
Very much the right call. Let's go. Oh, my bad. The Jets are reportedly having interest in making a run at wide receiver DeAndre Hopkins. This may have to deal with Aaron Rodgers. Maybe get an Aaron Rodgers, DeAndre Hopkins connection. That would be kind of nasty. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, we'll cover the Jets' whole situation later in the episode, but yeah, I think they got weapons there for him already. You just need the guy himself. D-Hop has showed he could play. He's getting older. He's getting to that age. He might not get that contract that he wants, but it's going to be to a team he wants to play because I think he's not happy with the Cardinals. So a team that wants that veteran experience and wants that guy that can play, he'll go to.
When asked if Dalvin Cook will be on the roster this season, the GM said he couldn't commit to it. Conversations are always ongoing with him. We're trying to be solution-oriented and always try to put the roster together with our constraints. Dalvin Cook's 2023 cap hit would be $14 million. What are your thoughts on maybe the Vikings moving on from a stud running back like Dalvin Cook is?
I mean, for a team like that, you have Justin Jefferson, so you have that weapon on offense. But really for me, what I feel like helps that team is having that good run and good pass options to turn to. So I feel like if you get rid of a guy like Dalvin Cook, they'll struggle on offense. I mean, they have Alexander Madison, but he's nowhere near Dalvin Cook. I mean, Dalvin Cook's been banged up a bit, but it's really up to them what they want to do.
I think Alexander Madison's pretty good. I like him. I put Dalvin Cook and Alexander Madison on the same level, to be honest. I think they're just one's paid, underpaid, one's probably paid. I just feel if they give Alexander Madison a role, drafting another guy, or just move up the depth chart, I think they'll be decent. I don't think they'll be as great, but I think they'll be pretty good. I also heard some rumors that the Minnesota Vikings are looking to draft a quarterback in this draft, maybe place him behind Kurt for a year or two, and then see where it goes. I think maybe a year. I think his contract ends up in a year. I think so. Don't quote me on that, but I do think so. Darren Waller to the Giants. I know we have been, that was a while ago, but Darren Waller to the Giants. What were your thoughts on that?
I mean, big guy. He showed he could play last year. He didn't really have the years that he had prior. The Raiders team is a completely rebuilt team. The Giants team, on the other hand, is a completely rebuilt team. They made the playoffs last year. Brian Dable coached that team from the ground up. Daniel Jones was in a very tough year because if he didn't perform, he wasn't going to get an extension. They were going to cut him, but he performed. He made it work with the players he had, with the team he had, and he showed it. So getting a guy like Darren Waller in there for that team, that's very helpful for them.
Very much so. Do you have anything else you need to say?
I don't know if we covered it, but the Chicago Bears did trade back in the draft with the Carolina Panthers. I can't remember if we covered that or not, but they got DJ Moore. And then they have the 9th overall pick now. And then I saw some reports that other teams are looking to trade with them for that 9th overall pick. Would you say like a team that would be in like that lower like the 9th pick or somewhere around there, would you think of them trading down?
I think if you're looking at that 9 pick right now and you're Ryan Poles and he's saying he's getting some interest from other teams, the Steelers are an interesting one that I've heard pop up. And I don't know what you do in that situation if you draft somebody you like or if you want to move back. Around the 9 spot here, I mean, you got some people like Tyree Wilson, Quentin Johnson from TCU. He's a wide receiver. Christian Gonzalez. He's a cornerback from Oregon. But you got some guys that are there that you could pick up. It's just how you feel about them. If you don't feel strong about them, you can trade back, and then you got picks later. You got more and more picks. The more and more picks you have, the more powerful you can be. I mean, the Jets, I think, have 2 first-round picks this year, and they just were really good.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really what they want to do because there is those studs there, like you said, but they're building up for the future. So, I mean, take another year, trade back. Don't get that number 1 guy you want, and maybe trade back, get more picks for the future because the Bears already have two overall or 2 first-round picks in the next couple of years. So really just building up for the future there. But that's a lot. That's for a lot of teams in the league.
It is for a lot of teams in the league. How are we headed into the NFL draft? We've had some news, rumors, and whereabouts about it. Let's head into our first piece of news, or first rumor. The Colts have reportedly have Will Levis ahead of Anthony Richardson on their QB ranking boards, according to NFL Draft Scout. What is your thoughts on both Will Levis and Anthony Richards?
Yeah, I mean, Colts have the 2nd overall pick, right? Third. The third overall pick. So
yeah.
That's assuming that Bryce Young and C.J. Stroud go in the first 2 picks. So I really don't have any details on this. I haven't really paid close attention, but I think it's really whatever fits their scheme better. Take a closer look at these guys. Take a closer look at who would fit better with Jonathan Taylor, who would fit better with Michael Pittman, and who would fit your scheme better.
I mean, they're talking about guys like Will Levis and Anthony Richards. I mean, I don't really see much in Anthony Richards. He's a very raw prospect. He's going to sit behind. He reminds me a lot of Trey Lance. That's what he reminds me of. We haven't seen a lot from Trey Lance. Of course, it was only his 2nd season in the NFL. But Anthony Richards reminds me of a Trey Lance right here. I just don't know why you would have Will Levis above C.J. Stroud. I think C.J. Stroud's performed very well. And on the big board here, he's below Will Levis, which I don't know if you understand that. If they're the 3rd pick, they got a choice between C.J. Stroud, Will Levis, Anthony Richards. I'm going with C.J. Stroud. That's just me. I like the fact that he went to a big school, Ohio State. He won a lot of games there. I like that fact. I like the fact that there was also a quarterback named Justin Fields that came out of there, and he looks pretty promising as well. So I like those 2 things. When you look at Kentucky, are they really quarterback worthy ready? Are they sending a pro ready quarterback? I don't know. I've seen his arm. He's got a massive arm. He can throw the ball downfield really far. So I think that helped boost his draft stock. Well, we'll see. Will Levis is not a terrible quarterback. I'm not saying he is. I mean, he's just the quality of school you're going to.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know if you're gonna get a great NFL talent.
Yeah, exactly. Really, it's and another thing was like he had a good pro day. He has such a strong arm, but we also saw that same thing from Zach Wilson. He had like that one great opposite field throw on his pro day, and we know how that panned out. So really, pro days don't mean as much.
Will Levis, where he wins is his field.
Yeah.
Expanding arm. He can throw the balls in tight windows at every level of field, and he's fearless. He'll just keep throwing it. His role is a downfield passer. He's very much a pocket downfield passer. That's what he can do. He needs to kind of improve on his consistent footwork. It's not always the best. It needs to be. It's a little choppy, so they got to clean up his footwork. But at 6'4", 230 basically, he is an interesting prospect. Of course, on the older side, I mean, he is 23, but he could be a very good quarterback coming out of Kentucky. And he eats bananas with the peel on. So I mean, he's a very interesting guy, and he likes mayonnaise in his coffee. So I think that says something. I mean, I I don't enjoy mayonnaise in my coffee, but if he does, I mean, he could definitely do he could definitely do that.
Yes, exactly.
Whereas Anthony Richards, where he wins, he's got a lot of tools to use. He's got a lot of strength, size, and his running ability, his agility. Uh, as a quarterback is absurd. It's very good right now. Um, he's 20 years old, so he's very young. He's still developing as a quarterback. He's got a lot of offensive weapons. That's his role. He expands his playbook. You can draw up any run concept you want for him, kind of like a Lamar Jackson, a little bit, less of a passer, I believe. But I never really looked at Anthony Richards and said, I really like this guy coming out of college. I thought, man, he's gifted. He's very gifted. He's got a lot of intangibles there. It's all there. It's just got to be put together. He kind of reminds me of a Trey Lance, but Trey Lance had less games. Anthony Richards, I think, had a little bit more games than him. So I hope he succeeds, but I don't know. His fundamentals are inconsistent, which is something he needs to improve on. But yeah, I don't know I don't think I would take either of these guys. I like CJ Stroud. That's just me. If he's on the board, I'll take a look at him way more than I'll take a look at the other two. I don't think he's as good as Justin Fields or whatever. I don't know. This quarterback class is just, to me, it's a little bit weird and on who I think is the best. There's Bryce Young too. He's got very good accuracy. CJ Stroud. He's a very good pocket passer, and he's very poised under. He needs to improve on his poise under pressure. Which in the NFL you're gonna get a lot of pressure, and who knows if you can do it. A lot of teams, this is their draft pick, this is their future, whoever they choose, and hopefully they choose right.
Yep, exactly. Really, I want to go back to the Anthony Richardson. But a team that was a powerhouse last year that really has a top pick and could go for him, I think, is Seattle. Geno Smith is getting older. They did extend Drew Lock, but he really got no reps last year. You get Anthony Richardson, you sit him behind Geno Smith for 2 years like the Niners did with Trey Lance, and hopefully can develop him to a pretty good young quarterback for that team.
I agree. I mean, I agree to a sense. I mean, Anthony Richards, I think he's got his intangibles to do it, but I mean, y'all got to see it. I mean, y'all got to see it. You didn't see it out of Trey Lance. You didn't see it out of guys like highly touted guys like Davis Mills putting the second one. You didn't see it out of him. You didn't see Josh Rosen. Remember Josh Rosen? Highly touted quarterback coming out of college. Went to the Arizona Cardinals, didn't do much. Whole career's been not very great.
Yeah, another guy.
Always these top tier quarterbacks, in my opinion, it's always a hit or miss on them. It's not in between. You got guys being taken like Mitchell Trubisky before guys like Patrick Mahomes. It's a crapshoot.
Yep, really one of these, and any of these guys could really pan out. It's, who knows, even Anthony Richardson on this getting picked by Seattle on this mock draft I'm looking at, he could be better than any of the other quarterbacks in the draft. It's really how they pan out with their team, not necessarily how they played in college.
Yeah, let's talk about another quarterback that's not getting any hype right now and has 2 national championships to his name. Many executives have concerns about Georgia quarterback and draft prospect Stetson Bennett, with one exec thinking he might go undrafted. What are your thoughts on this?
I mean, he's like 25, 26 years old, which for a guy, he's put in perspective, he's the same age as Lamar Jackson. a guy that's been in the league for 4 or 5 years now. He said he's been in college forever. So I mean, Stetson Bennett, he's a guy that could go late round, maybe seventh rounders when you're picking up those extra guys. Maybe he's a guy that you pick and he sits behind your starter. He's there if you need him. Maybe he's like a Fitzmagic. Maybe he comes out when you need him. But I don't know.
I mean, I don't know. I think he's a winner. You gotta put that in perspective. But he did win on a stacked Georgia team both of the years he's won. A stacked team. But who knows? Who knows? We don't really know. And hopefully he'll hit his name called in the draft. But sometimes we know that's not the name of the game. Well, let's talk about TCU quarterback Max Duggan.
Yep.
He played in the Final Four for I want to say March Madness. It's not March Madness. It's the college football playoffs. But he is ranked on PFF's big board as ranked 339. He's the last quarterback on their big board. What are your thoughts on TCU quarterback Matt Dump?
I mean, he showed he can play in college, and like these guys that we've seen, like Baker Mayfield played in college, Heisman winner. Obviously he didn't pan out in the NFL, but yeah, many of these guys that can play in college, they don't know how they can play in the NFL. You never know. Any of these guys could show up. He could be like Brock Purdy, show up, be Mr. Irrelevant, and then come out and play. But it's really anyone's game, really, how they fit the scheme of the team.
Yeah, really. I'm looking at this one guy right now, Tanner McKee from Stanford. He's 6'6", 230 pounds. He's a junior. He's 22 years old.
Jeez.
But he's got very good timing and accuracy. He is definitely a pocket passer. But he can improve on his pocket presence, which I don't know what that means. He's probably a work in progress. On the big board, he gets ranked 37. So it's kind of like, it reminds me of a Davis Mills coming out. But good luck to him. He's just extremely tall. That's why I wanted to mention him. He's probably the tallest quarterback in this draft, the way I'm looking at it. Yeah, he is definitely the tallest quarterback in this draft.
Yes,
so
exactly.
If you're looking for a tall guy, he's definitely a tall guy.
Another guy that I want to cover is Hendon Hooker, the quarterback for Tennessee. In this mock draft I'm looking, he's projected to go to Minnesota at pick 23. Like you were saying earlier, Minnesota could most definitely pick a quarterback, and if you're going to pick a guy like Hendon Hooker, who's proved he beat Alabama in that big upset this year. He is 6'3", 217 pounds, but yeah, his projected rank is 58th, but in this mock draft they have him going 23rd overall, so really we'll have to see if he pans out to go to Minnesota. He comes out later in the draft for another team, but there's definitely a lot of good quarterbacks in this draft compared to last year.
Mm-hmm. No, I definitely agree. There's some quarterbacks that could come out and could be really good. We don't know. It's a game of crapshoot here, and you got guys like Zach Wilson being picked. Look what he's done. I mean, when you pick in the first round, it doesn't always guarantee you the best possible quarterback selection. Look at Tom Brady. Tom Brady's a great example. I know he's overused, but I mean, he's an all-time great, and he was not a first-round pick. He was far from a first-round pick. So I think each of these guys, congratulations on getting to this point. Now let's see who's gonna do it and who's not gonna do it at the next level. As soon as I get drafted, it's ready. Let's get to work.
Yep, we gotta see how these guys pan out. There's like I said earlier, compared to last season, considering the top two picks are from Pittsburgh and Liberty. There's definitely a lot better quarterback selection in this draft, so maybe those teams could get their guy of the future, get their backups, eventually develop them on the team, and then build them up into the future and build a younger team.
Mm-hmm. No, I agree with that, but let's head into our last segment. Let's go with a little Rodgers rate here. We haven't done a little Rodgers rate here in a bit, but we got some more Aaron Rodgers news. Aaron Rodgers said on the Pat McAfee podcast a couple weeks ago that he intends to play for the Jets next year. He is not. He's not currently a Jet though. They're still working out the deal, and that's what we're going to talk about right now. Apparently, the big hindrance for the Jets is the fact that the Packers want another first round pick. Wants a first round pick for Aaron Rodgers, and the Jets aren't willing to give that first round pick up. Um, the framework for Green Bay. This is what Green Bay is looking for. They're looking at Jets get Aaron Rodgers, a 2025 conditional pick. That if the Jets only get Rodgers, retires after one season in New York. If he retires after one season, they'll get another pick. But the Packers would get a 2023 second round pick and a 2024 first round pick. That's what the Packers want. And the Jets owner is very against trading their first round pick. So we'll see what happens. What is your thoughts on the Rodgers situation?
Really, I think the Packers need to just let him go. He's 39 years old, I believe. He's getting up there in age. I get it. He's a good quarterback. He's a veteran guy. I don't know necessarily I think they might be asking a little too much for a guy that's 39 years old and not going to get a year out of him. But
they need to train him because their cap hit would be insane if they cut him. They can't cut him.
Yeah. They need to trade him, get him away. I mean, the Jets have been building up for him. They got Alan Lazard. They do have Breece Hall from last year's draft and Garrett Wilson and Sauce Gardner. That team, if they add a veteran guy like Rodgers and he performs like we know he can, then they'll be very good. It just depends when this trade goes through, because these rumors have been floating around for about a month now. And then another thing to throw in is Rodgers said he was 95% on retiring before he went to his darkness retreat or whatever. Then he came back and he's like, I'm going to play again. So obviously he doesn't seem like he's going to play for the Packers now, but we don't know how that'll pan out. If he will go back to the Packers, if he'll go to the Jets, if they'll make a move on him, or whatever happens there.
Yeah, if I was Aaron Rodgers, I'd be kind of pissed if I wanted to get traded and get me traded, you know? I know he knows that it has to do with the business side of things, but you want to get to your new team, you want to get situated, you want to work out with the guys and all that, but he can't do that now because he's still a Packer. The Packers hold that power. They could trade him just before the season starts and said, hey, there you go, you're traded. They could do that. Teams have done that before. I think he'll likely get dealed before the draft, and I think it might be actually at the draft he could get dealed. And that may be a situation where come draft night, it could work out like that. But who knows? Who knows? We don't know. I'm not an insider. I don't claim to know everything inside the situation. I'm just here observing the situation. And how do you feel Jordan Love feels in the situation where he doesn't know if he's going to be a starter technically because he's not traded. Aaron's not traded.
I think if I was Jordan Love, I'd be preparing to start in the season, considering all the things the Jets have done, considering that there's negotiations moving, and you don't know a lot of information. Really, the only thing you could do is prepare for starting the season, starting as the number one quarterback for the Packers. But yeah, if I had to guess, I'd think Aaron Rodgers is definitely a Jet. Everybody else that I've seen online thinks he's a Jet. But we don't know. Maybe these negotiations won't pay out. Maybe the Jets won't want to give up that top pick for a guy like Aaron Rodgers. But I think they're definitely looking for him, looking to get him. So we'll have to see.
Yeah, we will definitely have to see. It's an interesting situation with Rodgers and his age and if he'll play for much longer, because he's always considered retirement every single year for the past 3-4 years. He's always considered retirement, and this time it's a little bit different. He wants to play for a different team. Let's see if he can do it, but he can't do it if they can't get the draft capital and all that put together. Who knows in that aspect? And I mean, I think it should be interesting to see in the coming weeks if he does get dealt, and to see if when the draft rolls around, if he gets dealt on draft night or he gets dealt beforehand. But I think that's it.
Yeah, most definitely. The draft is coming up soon. I think it's the 27th, 28th, around that area. But I think, like you said, he could definitely get dealt on draft night. Maybe it's like a last decision pick. I bet you these teams are trying to just work out, like, if Rodgers does this, he does that. If he doesn't do this, and the pick goes back. That's probably the big negotiations right now. But Yeah, I think that's pretty much it about the Rodgers rate. We covered everything we could. Now, it's really been a stalemate these last couple of weeks since he's been on the Pat McAfee show. But we're just waiting for things from them.
Yes, exactly. And I think this has been another episode of the ASP podcast. Appreciate you all for listening, and we'll see you next time.
Yep, maybe we'll get some mock drafts up for you guys in a couple of weeks before the draft.
We ain't done yet. Oh, no, we just begun. I like those colors.